All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to our second session of Apocalypse Keys. This is our B.P.R.D. Hellboy inspired mystery game of superpowered antics written by Jamila Najati. It's fantastic. You should all go and play it sometime. This game is played through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is a community of like-minded folks who get together and play games on the internet. It is a wonderful community with lots of fun stuff, including the Gauntlet calendars, where we are playing this game, as well as podcasts and forums and Slack and Discord and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you want to go and check that out, there will be a link in the description. Playing with us today, we have some wonderful people who I'm going to ask to introduce themselves, and I will introduce myself after they go. So why don't we start with Jex? I'm just going clockwise on my screen.
Hey, Jex Thomas, they, them, playing Novella Teague, she, her, and she's a ghost. And you can follow me on Jex J. Thomas at Twitter if you wanted to.
And then I think Brandon is next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Brandon, he, him. I am playing Hope, who is a clone, and from the future, or at least she says. And I'm looking really forward to tonight.
Yeah, me too. And Dan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Dan Brown. My pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Sojourn. She's a pure, and her pronouns are she, her, and she is an angel from the Old West.
Awesome. And my name is Sam Zimmerman. I use he and him pronouns, and I will be playing everyone else because I am running as the GM today, or as the keeper of the doors, I think, as it's called in this particular game. So that is very exciting. Tonight we're playing with some safety tools. We are using the X card. We are using script change. We are using lines and veils. And we are using the open door policy. If you want information on any of those tools, there is going to be a link down in the show notes or at the bottom that you can go and learn more about that. Just for everyone's refreshment, our lines and veils this week, we are using, we have lines on eye injuries, harm to children, racism, and sexual assault. We have veils on harm to animals, sexual content, suicide, torture, and homophobia. And we have an ask first on body horror. So with all of that out of the way, I think we are ready to go. So at the end of last session, you guys wrapped up this kind of mystery that was happening off of the bottom of Cape Horn, where a sea serpent was kind of agitated by this kind of dark ritual that was getting cast and revealed this black obelisk that Sojourn so dramatically punched into oblivion, which was amazing. And so now you guys have just arrived back at division headquarters. The headquarters itself is located in Baghdad, which was chosen as kind of a central location for most of the Eastern Hemisphere. Thank you, Jex. End of session stuff from last time that I forgot to do. So let me scroll up here. At the end of the session, everyone individually answer the following questions. If you answer yes, you get to mark an XP. Did you express your monstrous nature or your humanity as part of the session?
Oh yeah.
Yep. I think everybody did a pretty good job of playing to that last time. Number 2, did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? Anybody have comments on that? Questions? Nope. Looks like good. And then, did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
Hard not to first time run.
Or not to the first session? Yeah, that makes sense. And then for the last three questions, answer the following. If you answer no, you may choose to mark doom once. So this is not you have to mark doom, but it is you are allowed to mark doom if you answer no to any or each of these questions. Did you individually uncover at least one key of the apocalypse or attempt to open Doom's door? So I think everybody did a pretty good job of getting keys. So I don't think there was anyone who didn't get a key last time. So I think you're good. Did you completely deny what the darkness demands of you? I see Jex just shaking their head no.
I feel like most of us gave into the darkness at least a little bit.
Okay. So
Well,
each
yeah,
of
I
you
only did at the very last moment, but it still counts.
Yep. And so each of you can mark doom for that if you want. And then did you reach for the light with someone? So I know that
I certainly did.
I think.
yeah, Sojourn and
I thought it was Hope.
Yes.
yeah, so
Sojourn
Sojourn
and
and
Hope.
Hope did.
High five.
Yeah. So no doom for us on that one.
Nope. And again, Novella can choose to mark another doom on that one.
It's all about brooding.
Yep. All right. I think that's all of the end of session stuff. Thank you for reminding me about that. All right. So back to our headquarters. So the division headquarters is in kind of the central urban area of Baghdad. It is disguised as a derelict parking lot that has been scheduled for deconstruction for probably 10 years now, and no one cares. It just kind of sits there with the like government notice that this is about to be demolished, do not enter sign in front of it. And people have just kind of accepted that it's never actually going to get demolished. So I'm curious, each of you have been through this entrance procedure quite a bit. It is a whole thing, getting in and getting scanned and getting allowed into division headquarters. Even after all this time, what makes you worried that something is wrong or something has gone wrong? Yeah, Brandon.
Hope hates getting scanned. She hates getting scanned, even if she thinks everything's on the up and up, because because there are scanners all the time where she's from, which is how you tell apart humans from people who look a lot like humans. And so she hates to get scanned, and she's avoided it several times and had the fear of God put in her about being booted out of division. So she doesn't need to know that anything's wrong.
I love that. That's great.
She feels the grip of autocracy clench upon her every time that little machine beeps.
That's fantastic. What about Sojourn? What worries Sojourn when you first arrive?
I think part of the security procedure is a retinal scan. And when she gets anxious, her sort of angelic power starts to kind of simmer. And part of that is kind of a flame behind her eyes. And so she's sort of getting anxious. And so it can't quite scan her retina. And then she gets more anxious. Or frustrated. It's not anxiety, it's frustration. And so it sort of continues to escalate. So she sort of has to take a deep breath, relax, and then try the retinal scan again.
How many times have you broken the retinal scanner out of frustration?
It was just the once, but it wasn't just the scanner that ended up breaking. It was sort of like the entire entrance. So I really have been very cognizant of keeping things in check ever since then. I mean, they still bring it up every time I come through. They're like, "Remember that time?" So I try to be careful.
Hope is in line behind her, going, "Break it,
Take it down."
No, I'm not. She's not saying it out loud, but she is thinking it really hard.
That's fantastic. And what about Novella?
Her sister is not going to make it through the scanner with her.
Oh,
I just realized that I don't think that I ever gave the sister a name either, so I'm going to work on that. But yeah, she's terrified that they're going to be separated.
yeah, that makes sense. Is there a moment from your past when this happened that you're like remembering every time this happens?
That's a good question.
It doesn't have to be with division. Maybe it's some other time that the two of
right.
you got separated.
I think, yeah. So I'm just looking over the notes real quick. I think probably before the whole incident with Lily, where they tried to push Lily out of the way of the carriage and the sister died. I think that morning they were on their way somewhere and they got separated for some time. And it was a very frustrating experience. And it was actually just before that event that they got reunited. So all of it's kind of tied up together.
Yeah, that's rough. I'll say that. So today's entrance is thankfully uneventful, as the group of you all make it inside without too much issue. The regular unmarked cars pull in, go into the very back of this parking garage where there's one of those ramps that kind of folds down, and you enter into this subterranean little kind of secondary parking space that acts as like a holding grounds, and you guys are able to make it through the entrance security pretty easily. And your supervisor is there waiting for you, ready to meet you. His name is, or his name was, Daryl Kennedy. And most people would know him by the name White Fang. He is he's an ex-agent. He was a kind of a big name in the division, probably in the late 60s, early 70s. And his powers were basically he is basically a symbiote. He's got this kind of secondary creature that lives inside his head and has kind of hijacked his body to for its own purposes and its own survival, and given it all kinds of like super strength and agility and all this other stuff. But the two of them have kind of become lax over the years. Sojourn, you've known Gerald for a long, long time. How has he? How in recent years has he really let himself go?
I think he has become addicted to caffeine, and he's constantly drinking coffee or a soda or something. And that's kind of negatively affected his sleep. So he always looks kind of tired. Like it's sort of this, it's this sort of sad juxtaposition of he's always tired, but he's always drinking caffeine.
Yeah. Has the soda consumption also kind of gone to his body at all, or is he still pretty fit?
I think he's still pretty fit, and it's sort of, it may be kind of a side effect of the symbiote. That he's able to maintain a relatively high metabolism, but it's kind of negatively affecting him in other ways. So,
Yeah, I like that. Hope, you mentioned that at one point you got the fear of God put in you for avoiding these scanners. How is he still terrifying when he wants to be?
With Fang?
Yeah.
I think he's still terrifying because he has a steel trap mind. When once he's decided hard on a course of action, there is no shifting him. That may have been a useful attribute at one point. Hope thinks it's a real problem. That doesn't mean he'll never admit that he's wrong, but there's no persuading him. You know, he'd have to see it for himself. It'd have to blow up in his face.
Yeah, I like that.
He'll be very reasonable for a very long period of time, and then and then it's just like talking to a machine.
I like that. And being from the future, you probably know a little bit about what that's like. And then going around to Novella, he doesn't often meet you guys at the gate. He has sometimes, but there's something about this particular meeting that lets you know right away that something's wrong. What about his demeanor or his attitude or what he's carrying lets you know that something is very wrong?
I think the times when he does meet us back here, he almost always addresses Sojourn as being kind of like the leader, and doesn't often engage with Novella at all. Novella has kind of put together over the many years that he does not like ghosts. But whenever there's something wrong, he turns to Novella for, she's not really sure what, like, are you trying to get empathy from a ghost or like what, but like some sort of comfort that isn't there. But it's this weird thing he always does. He otherwise doesn't like ghosts, doesn't want to be in the same room as a ghost. But when something's really wrong, that's where he goes for comfort.
Yeah, I like that. And so I don't think that he addresses the four of you at all as you kind of ride up. You pass through security, and he pointedly looks at Novella before just turning down the hallway. And he has like a manila envelope that he's waving for you guys to follow him with, and drags you guys without pretty much any rest or recuperation down this hallway, back into one of the kind of larger meeting rooms that the division has. And he sets up in this empty, blank, gray box of a room that has a basically an older TV in it, and this kind of like it's got all the wires kind of scattered all over this small table that's set out in the middle of this room. Like it's trying to be tech savvy enough that you could plug in a laptop and do a presentation or something, but it's like you can never tell what cable is where, and it's always a frustration and always a headache trying to get anything set up. But he doesn't even bother with any of that. He just slams the manila envelope down and pulls a chair out, and you can see that he's actually like crushed the back of the chair a little bit in his hand. He's that frustrated, and turns it around and sits down, waves for the four of you to sit across from him. You know, before we get started on this, I want four of you to know that I'm not mad at you.
Always a good sign.
Thanks for that.
Key word in there is I. There are some other folks that are frustrated with the last couple of days. The four of you coming back apparently was a unexpected thing based on recent events. I don't know if you know this, but we've lost 2 teams in the last week. Now, I hope you have some news for me about these sorcerers or whatever they call themselves that keep showing up everywhere and messing with our agents. And he's kind of alternating glaring at each of you in turn.
I feel like probably all of us are doing that thing that you do when you're at a meeting and your boss is kind of mad at you, where you're sort of all trying to not make eye contact with anybody.
Not me.
What is Hope doing?
Hope's thinking really hard. And she's fidgeting with her fingers, and little bits of static electricity spark between them when she does this. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm going to trigger ashes to ashes.
Okay.
To see if I can remember what I can either remember what is happening or remember what is going to happen.
I love that. So this is your custom move
This
or
is
your
this is a-
playbook move?
Yes, this is my custom playbook move. It says when you to clear out the wisdom of your people may help in a situation. Well, I know a lot of history.
I love
And
that.
they
Yeah.
taught it. They taught it to me, and a lot of it in here is in the stone. Although, of course, there's too much for me to, there's too much to know, and even if I knew all of history, there's always another one. That's the problem with time and dimension traveling. A problem, one of the
Yeah.
many problems. Anyway, I'm going to roll now.
So, yep.
I'm going to put 2 points of darkness into it.
Okay. I should actually pull open the dice tray.
And I hit it.
Yeah,
Okay.
what'd you get?
I got a 10.
You got a 10. So on an 8 to 10,
Choose 2.
choose 2.
Okay. All right. So I am going to I'm going to certainly recall ancient knowledge. And the question I'm going to ask is, what's what is happening to these disappearing teams? How are they doing? Or who are they? Or whatever I can remember.
So, you flash back in your memory in this history, and I think there's maybe do you also swap you say you actually have dimensional phasing, right? That's one of your.
Yes, I have
your
phasing and
skills.
time. I have phasing and time travel. Yes.
Can you see alternate timelines? Is that a thing?
Yes, but of course
Okay.
that's confusing too.
Yeah. I think there is an alternate timeline where the 4 of you worked fast enough and you succumbed to the or succumbed, I don't know what the verb is on that one, to the pillar, this obelisk pillar, and it overwhelmed you. I think Novella might have made it out because you're already dead. But this obelisk is strong enough to take down most other monsters, heroes, even those who typically claim to be immortal.
Is that what happened to the others?
As best you can tell, that is what happened to the other teams.
Okay. It's the artifacts. They don't have this kind of power. The enemies. I mean, they found these buried things. We encountered one of them. It's at least 2,000 years old, or was. It's dust now, but
Does Sojourn pull out the big chunk that she brought back? Or are you hiding that?
Did I?
Yeah, we established that.
Yes, you got a chunk.
You rolled a move and basically got what was it? they know of a secret related to your power, origin, or doom. And the way we kind of narrated that is that you got a big piece of this obelisk that has this runic kind of ritual carved into the side of it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe as Hope is talking, I've been, I'm not sitting. I'm too cool to sit. And I've been cleaning one of my revolvers. And as Hope is talking, I kind of holster the revolver and reach into a leather bag that I carry with me. And I kind of just set the chunk down on the table with a loud thunk.
I pick it up and I go, you see these markings. These are tapping into, these tap into ley lines. But these guys didn't create them. And it's not even clear to me how they discovered them. But they have found them and learned how to unearth them, which is no mean feat, since these things usually just cause incredible destructive feedback on anybody who comes anywhere near them. But this is how the other teams were taken out.
And you get a second option.
Do. The latent abilities is a great temptation.
It is.
Hope says, yes, hold on, wait a minute. She reaches into, she puts her hand out, and her hand disappears from the wrist down. And then she pulls it back out of a negative space, and she's holding a golden rod.
You do this. I don't know what you just did. You act like I know what you just did.
I saw this in another dimension, and it's some way of counteracting what they're doing if we can get up close and personal with them, or maybe of finding one of these artifacts before they use it. I'm not sure. I'll have to study it.
Okay.
But it's linked. She puts it on the table. Thump.
Does it interact with the chunk? I don't think it does. I think the piece that you guys brought back is basically just a lump of rock at this point with some cool carvings and stuff on it.
No, it might be useful research fodder.
Yeah.
But Sojourn really popped it a good one. So I think she destroyed the matrix.
Yeah, I like that.
So it might be a clue.
Yeah. Mechanically, what option are you picking here?
I hadn't decided yet. That's why I had to.
Yeah.
to
I think this makes sense as recognizing the prophecy hanging over your fellow monsters, and basically just.
Oh, the second option, I was going to pick the awaken latent abilities, but if you
Oh, I see
don't
what
like
you-
if you don't like that one, I'm happy to convert it.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
I just don't know what it is yet.
And so this orb is like the abilities. I get that. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm good with that. And we can figure that out when we need them.
Yes. Well, I'll
And
figure it
so-
out while we're talking, but I don't want us to pause the narrative.
And Daryl looks up at Sojourn. Good thing you brought something back. But I know you don't typically bring back mementos unless you have a reason. Why this one?
I felt something. I brought it back so you can tell me what it is.
I don't know if I can tell you what it is. I think
Well, one of your nerds around here. If you've got teams not coming back, then we need to get back out there and figure out what's taking them out. I'm done standing around here yapping. What's next?
and he waves his hands, and he's laughing a little bit at you or with you.
They've known each other for a long time, I would imagine, and this
Yeah,
is
and-
how she has
and-
always been.
And I think that your personalities are pretty compatible. But he shakes his head a little bit. You know, I can't authorize you to just walk out the door. I need a mission, and I know you. I knew you'd be ready. I'm working on it. But until then, you guys have some paperwork to fill out. And he tosses the envelope across the table.
I slide it over to Janus, and I'm like, that's her job. His job. Sorry.
His job.
Close.
I snort.
And he looks at the stuff on the table. Do you guys mind if I show this to the superiors so that they get off my back, so I can get off your back?
Hope looks at Sojourn.
Do what you got to do. Just tell them we had to kill. Did we kill Lily or did she run away?
You chased her off.
We had to chase off a sorceress to get this, not to mention a sea serpent, and this thing was underwater in the middle of the whirlpool. So,
Oh. So Kai was there. All right. Well, I didn't expect him to show up. This goes sometimes.
ooh,
Yeah.
You guys.
Who? Gerald?
Oh. You guys didn't read the case file? Kai view.
I mean, of course I read the case file, but
Kai view,
What's-
the legendary sea serpent of South America. No, nothing of that. Nothing.
yeah, if you can just, I read it, but if you can just pretend that Sojourn didn't read it so you can explain it to her.
I don't read
Oh.
anything. That's Janus's job, and he didn't tell me anything.
I trust that he was
That was
hospitable.
that was a sea serpent.
Well, technically, he's the son of a god, but you guys, was he hospitable with you? Like what?
No, he tried to kill us, but then he was being driven insane by the
Oh,
pillar.
I mean, he and Janus got along really well, I think.
oh, I'm sure they did.
Well,
is
actually,
kind of
he still tried
Janus's
to
thing.
kill us. Janus tried pretty hard, so the thing really must have been driving him. I just remember something enormous in the water with me.
Well,
There were
that
lots of
is-
shapes in the water.
Well, that he
There
is.
were a lot of dead in the water.
Enormous.
That is true.
Well, I expect a full report as per usual. It's good to know that you did kill my friend. In that case, I will see you around. And he picks up the two objects and kind of walks out of the room with them, leaving the four of you with your paperwork.
He's getting worse, right? Like he's definitely getting worse.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even stand him anymore.
He's always been a dick, but
Yeah, but this is something else.
this is
Hope reaches into her pocket and pulls out a cloth and takes Sojourner's other gun and flicks it open and starts to takes the bullets out and starts to clean out the cylinders.
Hope
I've never liked. Sorry, he's never liked me.
I told you you don't have to do that. I'm very
You don't.
particular.
I know you're very particular, and you're getting distracted.
Just be careful.
What do you mean? Be careful. I do a better job than you do.
I've had those guns for 200 years.
I know that.
So, I want to do a little.
You need to replace the ammo sometimes, right? Too. Okay, because otherwise it leaves these little pit marks inside.
I've only shot the gun once in 200 years. So
Yes, that's why I'm saying you need to replace the ammo. It doesn't last forever. Some of this, it goes bad and then it craps up the inside of the cylinders. That's one reason you need to clean it so often.
Amazing.
You've only fired it once. Why do you even carry it then?
In case she has to fire it again, of course.
I do have other ways of dealing with threats.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I always wondered about the guns, but I just thought
It's a look, and someone important gave those to me. So
Hey, Novella, tell us about Lily.
I mean, there's not a lot to say. She's the reason that, and I look over at Clara, my sister Clara Teague. She's the reason that Clara's here too.
That's pretty important.
I don't really have anything else to say about Lily. There's a reason I tried shooting her with my umbrella.
Did I do the wrong thing by letting her go?
I don't know. I'm starting to have a feeling that we did the wrong thing by coming back alive. Well, you know what I mean.
I could have tried to stop her. I knew she was going to teleport out.
I think we'll have another opportunity soon.
we did what we were assigned to do.
That's why.
We don't-
Also, I felt like there had been enough death from what Novella had said, and that we didn't have to add any more.
Novella, curious about how it works being a ghost. Is it possible for you to turn invisible? Is it possible for you to, say, wander around headquarters and maybe eavesdrop on some of the brass?
Sojourn, I can't believe that we've been working together for like over 100 years, and this is the first time you've ever asked me this.
Well, I have a very short memory.
Yes, she is.
I wanted to make sure that was still something you felt comfortable doing.
I can't turn invisible, but she can.
Yeah.
And nod at Clara.
Will she help us?
If she wants to.
I look over at her, and I think everybody probably looks over at her, and she's
It's
just
always
like
the same
complete-
answer. If she wants to.
completely like blank expression, and then like our faces sort of shift and change sometimes, but she's always just kind of looking like little kids do in like those old like tintype photographs, right, where they always look.
Anyway, she is right here. You could ask her. I mean, she doesn't answer, but you could still ask her.
I think she just disappears.
Yeah.
How do the division moves work? Because I feel like that's close to one of the division moves.
Yeah. So the way normally you have to take a division move as a advance, but I think I'm going to give the group of you a division move that of your choice to get us started here. So let me share my screen really quick.
No, we can.
So
Are this the ones under the label division moves?
Yes. This is mostly for the folks at home.
Oh, okay.
So, so if we go over to the division moves, you guys as a group can kind of pick one of these, and then we'll figure out some scenes that we want to do, probably after our break. That will involve that. So, which one were you looking at, Jex, that you think was pretty close?
Well, I kind of was just scanning through them. Your PDF looks much nicer than mine. And I guess I don't know that any of them match super closely, but Lorehound potentially could be helpful. The one that if I was picking for me, I would have picked was Secret Sanctuary, but
Secret Sanctuary is fun. Orphanage is fun.
Yeah, or I like the ghost one too, that there's other ghosts around, but
oh, of course you'd like that.
I feel like Lorehound would be maybe most immediately useful, but I'd like to hear what other people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like we could kind of color it to be like sending Clara to go spy on people.
That is funny. I do like that. I was also thinking either that one or the ghostly agents.
Who or what haunts the libraries? We already know the answer to that question. Sorry.
Yeah, so do we want to do that? So let's.
Oh, is Clara the librarian? No, just kidding.
Sam, were you suggest? It sounded like you were going to suggest another one potentially.
Yes.
I was also looking at the ghostly agents, just because that kind of fits with the everyone's dying theme. But
I kind of like the idea that there aren't a ton of ghosts around, though.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to make ghosts coming. I'd like Novella to be special.
That makes sense. Yeah. So let's go with Lorehound. So when you take this move, answer at least one of the following questions. So we already kind of know who or what haunts the libraries, and I think it's Clara. Clara is your like little almost Dewey Decimal System of.
Well, now we know where she go. Now we know where she goes when she vanishes. She goes to read.
I also want to hear what lies waiting in the restricted and forbidden archives.
Well, the classic answer, of course, is things that nobody was meant to know.
And I wonder if part of that is a sinister history of the division that sort of maybe it did not start out. I mean, I would not say that it's got the strongest moral compass, but maybe it started out even more questionable in terms of its methods and objectives. And so there's some files down there that make it very clear what its origins are and maybe what it might still be underneath all the layers.
Yes, totally. What's the division's real agenda is.
Right.
I
Well
like
said.
that.
It's
And-
Hydra inside S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, come on. Nothing so benign.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so I like that. Why don't we take our break now? I know we're a little bit early, but this seems like a good spot to hit a break. So why don't we take 5 and be back at the top of the hour? Does that sound good to everybody? Cool. In that case, I will see you all in a little bit. All right, we're back from our break. So we have ourselves a little bit of a ghost in the library mystery. So I'm curious. Is there a like a meeting place or a barracks or something like that that your little squad tends to meet up in when there's hot gossip or news coming out from this?
There has to be a break room or something, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's like a canteen, right? Like a,
Mhm.
like a military sort of break room ish. But we use one that's everyone else dislikes because there's something off about it. Maybe they don't take out the trash in that one very often or something, or maybe it's something creepy about it. I don't know, but
Maybe just nobody likes to sit at our table.
I didn't want to say it, Hope, but
Maybe it's you guys. Maybe it's the fact that the dishwasher is super loud and just constantly clanging as it goes, and it's impossible to talk.
weird purple tentacle that comes out of the trash can.
I think
No, that's normal. That's
yeah, I
everyday
think
stuff.
it's just that the Wi-Fi is bad in this corner. So no one yeah.
That's funny. I like that. The super mundane stuff. Yeah, and so I think that the group of you is probably either the next day or later in the day. You guys have had a little bit of time to kind of decompress, finish your paperwork, and let's do breakfast the next morning. You guys all meet in this like canteen and head off to your table that no one else likes because they're all on their smartphones, and the group of you don't seem to really care about the Wi-Fi all that much, and so you're perfectly fine to take the table with shoddy service. I think Clara comes up, and I think so. I don't think that she can communicate with anybody except Novella. Is that true?
I mean, what
Eyes and
What it-
glances.
right? What it says in the like on my character sheet is that she doesn't speak. I have a ghostly companion that never speaks. I think that she has like a little like a pocket journal kind of thing that she writes in, and in theory anybody could see it, but I think she writes in like a cipher or whatever that we invented when we were kids, so only I can read it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. If you want to go with that. And oh, I think that would be good. Is like she doesn't show up, but you're like you start to see this cipher like written on the table and like writing out on the table in front of you. And I think the inscription is, it's worse than Daryl said.
Clara, how many times don't write on the table? It's bad.
And
Everybody, it's really bad.
I think he appears next to you and looks a little bit sheepish.
I know. But what I'm going to say I'm really sorry in advance, guys.
And I think Claire shows you like a section of her notebook where she was recording a conversation. Daryl wasn't lying to you. They have lost 2 teams recently, but there are 3 more that haven't come back and haven't been confirmed.
We can just assume I share that information with everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. They went after all the out teams at once.
How many teams, like, I imagine, we have a decent knowledge of like how big the division is, et cetera. Like, how many teams are left?
That, I feel like that makes up about half.
Okay.
So there's only maybe 10 teams.
They sometimes call people up out of the reserves, but it usually takes time, and there's not that many people who
and
are desirous of coming back / not too scarred by the experience, still able to function.
I think the more worrying thing to the 4 of you is that there are certain people that are convinced that the correct course of action is to hunker down and protect the resources that they still have.
Fuck no.
Clara, you did really good. I give her a ghost candy. I don't know. Probably a hard candy. What would have been popular in the Victorian ages? Probably some kind of real gross hard candy, right?
Let me do some Googling. I'm sure like peppermint sticks were a thing.
Sure, Whorehound, butterscotch.
Oh, yeah, peppermints for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is your guys' plan here? Because it is very possible that you guys are told that you're not allowed to leave.
Well, we just have to figure out where to go. I don't care if we're not allowed to leave.
Yeah. I think, the fact that like Lily was involved in this, like, it's pretty easy usually for novella to kind of be apathetic or like, I feel like the idea of hunkering down and not doing anything generally would be very appealing to her, but this is kind of a special case.
Yep.
So
Right.
she's with Hope on that.
All right. So we just need a starting point. Do I know a starting point?
How are you going to get a starting point?
I think Sojourn
Well,
has not been saying anything. Am I muted? No. Sojourn has not been saying anything. And she just stands. She knows maybe someone in the logistics department or knows of someone in the logistics department who is, shall we say, easy to intimidate. And she follows him into the bathroom. And she
Okay.
asks Hope and Novella to keep watch. And she kind of breaks it down, pushes in a stall.
I like this.
Asks him while he's doing his business to tell her where the teams were deployed to.
So are you activating a move, like a specific playbook move, or do you want to unleash the dark?
I'm just doing what Sojourn would do.
That's an unleash the dark.
That sounds like you're unleashing the dark on this poor guy.
Unleash the dark. And his name is Kevin.
For Kevin.
Yep. That's not good. One of my colleagues is named Kevin, and he's not like that at all. Sorry. So I am unleashing the dark, huh?
Yes.
I have no tokens to spend.
Do you think that you've hit any of the triggers in all of the role playing that you've done so far?
I had intended to ask Daryl or White Fang to punish me for my power. I was going to be a little sarcastic about it, but I didn't get a chance to before he stormed out. So,
That's a phrasing.
What's the matter, Tessa? Before you do this.
I'm sorry.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
Yes. You're grinding one fist into the other palm like you always do when you're not sure what to do.
I just feel like it's been so long and I still don't have control.
Yeah, well. Oh, I wish I could tell you that if you wait a little longer, you'll have control. But it never happens. But I will tell you that I think you're doing fine.
Still deserve to.
This is and yes. Absolutely fucking yes. Okay. So,
Are you gonna reach for the
shut the
light
fuck
here?
up. Yep, shut the fuck up and do your job. Whatever it is. And this is a reach for the light. And I'll put 2 into it. Because Hope hits her goddamn triggers all the time. She's just miserable.
That is a 12.
Boom, overshot it.
All right. On an 11 plus, you both go too far, and you each choose one from the good list and one from the bad list.
I am going to clear the merciless condition that I started with.
Okay.
And I'm going to say I'm the one who should be fucking apologizing for tampering with things that I'm not supposed.
Yeah, that's good. Dan.
Yeah, so I'm going to take 3 tokens of darkness, obviously. And the one idea that occurs to me is I missed something important, and maybe there's someone in the next stall.
Or you could have just
like the CEO or whatever, the head of this whole thing. So I'm going to end up, maybe not right now, but in trouble at some point.
Yeah, I think that's great that there's somebody else who hears all this going down.
Yep. Sure. I thought you were going to say that you missed what I just said.
Well,
that-
I do feel like Brandon, I do want to do this again and destroy something beautiful we share.
I know. I thought I was pre-wincing, because
I don't
because
think
here it comes again.
I feel like that's sort of in our last session. That's
Yeah, one of these times. Yeah, it's just going to. It's because it's happening all over again. Okay. Right.
So now I've got some tokens to spend. I'm going to unleash the dark. Thank you for doing that. And for you, Kevin, I'm just going to roll with one token.
Okay.
I roll
That is a 6.
I spend a bond.
Yes.
So with a bond, you can get a +1 or -1, which gets you to 7.
Right.
Unless you want to spend 2 bonds to get you to 8, which is
Oh, that's right. And eight is the number.
it's 8 to 10.
Yeah, I've got these 2 bonds with Janus, and he's not doing anything for me. No offense,
Yeah,
Greg.
how does he help you out here? Is he also in the bathroom?
He's got that heart ability.
Janus, I'm in love with Janus, and I know that he is worried about these teams, probably even more than I am. And so it's sort of like feel like I'm doing this for him, whether or not that's actually true or not. That's what's driving me.
I like that. That's good.
It's much easier to play when the player isn't here. So I wield the darkness with precision and choose 2.
Yep.
I'm going to get what I want from them. I guess that's expose a weakness or a flaw in myself or in them.
I think that is in them. And so maybe the weakness or the flaw. So the get what you want from them. Let's play out this scene a little bit. So these I have this mental image of these very dirty, kind of very gross, like the corporate. I don't want to say corporate, just like industrial America kind of bathrooms that are utilitarian to the extreme. And we just get the kind of the over the shoulder shot of the bathroom door as Sojourn just like punches and the lock just slides off. What does this look like as Sojourn is standing in the doorway?
She's silhouetted when Kevin is sitting there looking at her, because her wings have come out, and so her wings are now kind of glowing brightly. So she's silhouetted. She hasn't. I didn't roll too far, but it's still a little maybe more overwhelming than it needed to be. I'm trying to decide if she has a gun drawn or if she's sort of, maybe she doesn't need to do that, but maybe she's got her hand on her gun. And when she speaks, there's sort of that maybe 2 voices thing happening. And she says, Kevin, where are the teams?
Whoa, hang on, whoa. And he's like frantically trying to pull his pants up.
Kevin, Where are the teams?
What are you talking about? What is going on here?
That's the perfect Kevin voice. She hands him a roll of toilet paper. And she says, 3 teams are missing. Where are they? Where were they deployed? Hope and Novella and Janice and I are going to go find them.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. He's like trying to put his buckle himself up. I heard. Can you not be pointing the gun at me? There was somebody was talking. I don't know who it was. I don't know his name. He's some suit. He was talking about Florence. That's all I got. Can you back up a little bit, please?
All 3 teams are in Florence.
Well, you know that's not how this works, but that's what I got for you.
She backs up and she kind of slams the thing closed, but because she's broken the lock, it kind of just
swings back open again.
But she's already turned on her heel.
I want to say that maybe there's also he had a file or something that he was working on. He brought some work with him to the bathroom and he's doing a thing. And you just rip it out of his hand, and maybe that's the expose a weakness or flaw in that you have some case information or something that you weren't supposed to have.
Yeah, I think that's good. Jex reminded me that whenever I unleash the dark, I get to do one of these other things because of my my pure move.
Oh yeah.
Sam, do you feel like you could do they know a secret related to my power origin or doom? Maybe he let something slip. Or maybe it's in the file. We can kind of figure that out later.
I think what happens is he in the moment of holy shit, what's going on? He says something like, I wasn't ready to meet static noise.
Interesting. Meaning I couldn't hear him?
You couldn't understand what he said.
I love it.
So he clearly knows something about a personality, maybe? Something? No, it has to be goddamn static noise showing up while I'm on the shitter.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I got it. I like that.
Yeah. That's fun. I like this move. That's a good move. So what's in this case file? I think that it is a oh, I know what it is. It's not a case for you guys. It's not a case that is in any way related to the Florence mission, but it does have a launch time and a scheduled and you know that at scheduled launch times they have to disable some of the security in order to get the helicopter out.
That gives us an out, basically.
So that gives you a time window where you could potentially get out without tripping too much security.
Outside the bathroom, I look at the two of them. I assume Janus is going to stay behind. I look at the two. I look at Hope and Novella.
I didn't hear anything.
I'm very subtle.
I heard everything.
Friends,
You're not supposed to say that. What?
partners,
Mm.
we got to be ready to move. And I kind of hand the file to Hope.
I'm ready. Let me see. Yeah, okay.
I love this. So, I think this is going to be kind of a narrative. You can, I kind of want to go around the table and have each person narrate something that they're doing as either prep or like prep for the mission or prep for the escape plan.
I'm also wondering if my soul like a steel trap applies here. It's always easier for you to come up with the perfect plan when you study a tense situation.
Well, that's
So-
perfect.
Yeah. Maybe after we do our little prep montage.
Yeah. So what? Actually, you could do that right now, and that is kind of the
Yeah.
Okay.
here's how we're gonna prep.
So yeah, so yeah, Hope's paging through the file and handing pages to Novella as she reads them.
I'm trying to think if Novella can like, I mean, I guess she must be able to like hold things, and I mean, she has her umbrella. Yeah, so it's not like it just phases right through her or something. But yeah, she kind of like looks through it and
You know what happens is the pages just float in front of you,
oh,
Right.
nice.
and you're just reading them as they're floating in front of you.
It's like how everybody in like Iron Man movies reads things on these screens, but it's just these dusty old pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna spend 2
Well,
darkness
you
on this.
read books all the time, and they just float off the shelf, and
Mhm.
pages flip themselves.
All right. So I'm gonna spend 2, and let's see how we do. That's a 9.
That's perfect. On an 8 to 10, the plan starts to form. Ask 2 questions.
Okay. Which of our dark powers will be most effective?
So you need to get out in a very short time window, and you have
Mhm.
someone with time dilation powers.
Mm,
Maybe somebody could make that window a little bit longer.
nice. Okay. And how could we best end this quickly?
Both answer.
I'm going to treat that as how can you get out the fastest, regardless
Mm.
of anything else going on. There is a helicopter leaving. So mode of transport potentially could be pre-provided for you guys.
So we're stealing the helicopter. So we should probably get moving.
Okay, we're stealing the 342 this afternoon.
Yeah. We're gonna have to deal with the people that are inside it. Sojourn, I think that's a good
Okay.
you thing. And Hope, can you
Yes,
stretch our window, if you know what I mean?
kind of. Yes,
Kind of you know what I mean, or kind of you can.
kind of. I can.
Okay. That sounds good enough.
All right.
All right.
I'm yeah, Hope is going to go take a nap. before that happens.
I love it.
And
What does Hope's room look like?
what does Hope's room look like? It has 3 mirrors in it. And it's really neat, and it's very spare. Like she doesn't really believe that this is hers.
Curious what these mirrors are for, but I'm sure we'll find out at some point.
Yes.
And so is Hope actually sleeping as we get this kind of panoramic scene of the inside of her bedroom?
She is. She takes the memory stone and she puts it under her pillow, and then she has a nap, and it's a really troubled sleep.
Right.
And then you see her packing a little satchel over the shoulder, kind of satchel, and rubbing her eyes. And she looks in the mirror and just stares at herself for a little while. And she says, "It's going to be all right." And she nods at herself.
Love it. Sojourn, what is your little vignette?
I think Sojourn has a former partner who is in a coma, and she goes to visit this person. Whenever she has some downtime, she goes to visit this former partner. She basically sits with them for a bit, talks with them. She's usually a person of very few words, but she sort of speaks very freely when she's talking to them. This is kind of another hero monster type person, so they are more or less permanently ensconced here at Division HQ in the medical unit. And that's about as far as I got in thinking of who this, thinking what her scene might be.
Yeah.
But I want to use this kind of either, I think every time she goes, she sort of says, "I wish I could use my power to help you." And that's a gaining darkness trigger. Ask someone to use my power as they see fit. Or just straight up feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I feel like this partner is probably like The Thing or Hellboy, like this big kind of a beefy, probably transformed skin type character. So there's absolutely no way that they could fit in with outside society.
Right. Yeah, and White Fang takes credit for recruiting me, but it was really this partner who is sort of the real person who brought me in.
Yeah, I love that. And so we end your little vignette just with you sitting next to the bed and kind of fade to black.
Yeah.
And Novella, how are you prepping?
Novella is not prepping so much as playing with Clara. I think that there's you get kind of like a sweeping sort of camera move of their room, which is also spare, but in a different sort of way, I think, than Hope's. Just because we're ghosts, we don't need much to sustain ourselves. But what there is a lot of is these like, it's mostly like Victorian era sort of toys. So like the like clothespins or like dolly pegs that are just used as dolls. And I think that the scene we get is Clara and Novella playing with the thaumatrope, like that, the circle thing where there's like a bird on one side and a cage on the other, and when you spin it, it looks like the bird is in the cage. But I think that it's if anyone has any good pitches here, I'd like to hear it. I don't think it's a bird in a cage. I think it's something that's like thematically relevant to what's going on, but I don't know that I have a good idea.
I think all the dolls are just like little versions of the monsters that have come through
Oh, for sure.
the division.
Yeah.
Like none of
Yeah.
them are normal people.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, the bird in the cage could be a very thematic thing. If you want to maybe, is that how you feel about it being here at Division,
Or being a ghost.
or being
I
stuck as a ghost?
Yeah, I think being stuck as a ghost, right? Because you know, I don't think that Novella really wants to keep just hanging around, you know, and I don't think she has any idea how to not do that, and especially without losing Clara. And you know, I think she's all of the different theories about how, you know, ghosts need closure or whatever. She's tried all of that shit, and none of that has worked. So there's an element of feeling kind of imprisoned by this existence, and of course also by, you know, the demands of the darkness, which is to kill death itself. So
Yeah,
you know, that's where she's at before we go into this thing.
that's fantastic. And so we cut to the action shot, I think, of the three of you sneaking onto this helicopter, trying to steal this helicopter. Who's going first? I think.
I'm going to act first.
Okay.
Because this is what happens. So we are waiting, you know, in readiness somewhere as the helicopter comes down, and the you know, they you know, wave the people off and turn off the wards and things like that, and the helicopter comes down, and it drops onto the helipad slowly. And as the skids touch down, the sound that the helicopter makes starts to decrease in pitch. And the blades start to go around slower and slower until you can see them moving, like as if they were in a mobile or something like that. The one fellow talking to another is still talking, but his gestures have slowed down to the point where he is moving his hand like about an inch every 15 seconds. And you see Hope pressing her fingers to her temples and concentrating.
Yeah, I want you to roll Be the Monster for this.
Yeah, let's be the monster I'm going to throw into.
Ooh,
Got a 10.
that is Snake Eyes.
I got a 2. I'm sorry, I'm reading upside down. Wow.
That is Snake Eyes. So the darkness within you will take what it demands, and the Keeper of Doors will say what happens next.
Okay.
What does the darkness demand of you?
To betray division and resurrect my people at the expense of humanity.
So
And
I think
now it's time. Now it's time to reveal the move I took. Since this may be germane.
Okay.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that another copy of you is what steps off of the helicopter.
Yeah, okay. Then I'm gonna.
You're still doing this time slow thing, but one, now you're distracted, and two, you didn't think, you thought you were the only hope in this timeline.
Unintended.
Pun intended. Who was the next stage of the plan? Sojourn or Novella?
I think that, well, I think I had instructed Sojourn earlier to be the one that kind of takes care of the people that are already there. So
shit.
Who flies the helicopter? I thought that might be Hope.
It is me. It's old tech where I come from.
All right.
I mean, it's a little bit like one of us riding a horse, but it's not that hard.
Right. I guess Sojourn. Sam, how many people are on the helicopter?
I think there are 4 figures getting off of the helicopter. Probably
including the pilot.
The pilot was the other Hope.
Yes,
and so
who is probably moving at normal speed.
Yeah. So there was another. Basically, this was going to be like a team transfer, essentially. So there's a team of 4 getting off of the helicopter, and then you guys can see on the other side of the helipad that there is another team that was getting ready to get on the helicopter, and you are basically taking their spot.
Sojourn, if you want like an assist in this, I can do some fun stuff with the shadows to kind of give us some cover. I don't know if that helps at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing more interesting for me to do other than pick them up and carry them.
Yeah, I figured you're just gonna like beat them up or something.
You don't have to. They're hardly moving.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like from my perspective, they're basically statues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to pick them up and put them down. I don't know how time dilation works, so I don't know if they can perceive me doing this, but actually I assume that they can, whether they can or not. So I kind of apologize to them as I'm moving them.
Just this very high pitched, sorry.
Yeah. She's gruff, so, yeah, she's gruff, so it's more like, sorry about this, and then moves them.
No, but you're moving at 10x speed, and so everything is pitched up 4 octaves.
That is really good.
Yeah, so let's do this darkness sweep from Novella first.
Okay.
Are you actually? I'm kind of looking through the moves here. You can aid somebody by rolling reach for the light, and then you basically let them add +1 or -1 to their roll.
Okay, I can try that. But yeah, I'm aiding using the shadow magic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna try 2 again. First time I've gotten to roll this one. All right, let's see. Oh, fuck. That's a 13.
That is a 13. That is very high. So you each get to choose one of the good things.
Why does this keep
Mhm.
happening to me?
It's you. It's you. It's not me. It's
Everyone
you.
is giving you these 11 plus results to have fun with.
Everyone's reaching for the light. Just stop it. Got it.
I am going to. I'm going to mark XP.
Okay. So the way that the text says is that the person who actually gets the +1 is basically creating a bond and then immediately using it.
Okay.
So that is Dan's
That's the help.
choice from the top section.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then each of you gets to pick one from the bottom 3.
I obviously missed something important. I mean that seems like the one that makes the most sense here.
Oh, missed something important. I think that you are concentrating on this. Maybe you missed something important. I think that you put up this kind of shadow, this region of darkness, essentially, is kind of what you're trying to do. But you only put it on the far side to kind of shield you from the other team that's going on. And you expected everybody to get off of the helicopter going the other way, because that's how the transfer was supposed to work. But I think that the other hope came off towards 3 of you, which is kind of how it came to everyone's attention.
I think I have an obligatory action.
Let's let Dan pick the last
Sure.
one first.
According to my bonds, Novello, I destroyed a locket of yours, which unleashed your sister. And I feel like over the years, centuries, really, we've come to an understanding. But I wonder if I sort of look at you in a way like, what are you doing? Because the darkness isn't working quite right. And it sort of breaks down our trust a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Sojourn is terrible with her facial expressions. So like even when she's just a little annoyed, it looks like you've burned the world down. So
I love that.
All right, so now I am rolling to remove. Do I need to roll to remove these guys?
I think that since Hope is still moving, since Hope 2, I'm going to call them, is still moving at normal speed, she is not affected by the time dilation, then
Right.
It's going to be mostly dealing with her. So you can choose to talk her down. You can choose to fight about this.
No, I know what she wants.
Okay.
Hope reaches into her bag and she pulls out a very strange looking gun. It's not like a ray gun or anything else. It's almost just a tube with a handle. But there's something wrong about it. And she goes, and she says to the other Hope, take this and go. Because one of the things the darkness wants is, of course, to resurrect my people at the expense of humanity and betray the division. And I am giving the other Hope a weapon to take someplace that our people will find it.
I like this.
And that's a weapon. That is what the other playbook move was that I took, by the way, which is crowned by dream, exalted by night. This is a weapon that comes from a nightmare.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it you marked doom and then
I
you
did.
get to do a thing.
Yes, I marked doom when I had my bad dream.
I like that.
And
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you hand over this nightmare gun, essentially.
that's what it is.
That can't go wrong at all.
As long as you're not in front of the business end, it's perfectly safe.
Do you say anything to her?
I say, do what we have to do. But I don't look happy about it.
And she looks at you and winks.
I love you, sister. Be well.
I love you too.
And then go burst into tears.
What is Sojourn up to during this exchange?
Sojourn's all business. I think she's finding this whole thing very puzzling, but is just removing the other passengers on the helicopter. Maybe keeping a bead on Hope 2, assuming that she is not trustworthy.
Okay, I like that. So I don't think that I think that Hope actually dealt with the key issues here. So I don't think Sojourn actually needs to roll anything. So you can take a bond if you want, since you did get a bonus on Reach for the Light.
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
You're essentially getting the bond and then not spending it.
Novella hates me now, so it's all good.
Is that the name of the bond? Novella hates me.
The two bonds have names.
So good.
And before we cut to our second break, I want Hope to listen to the dark.
Yep.
When you deal with forceful emotional turmoil and pressure from your past, responsibilities, or relationships. And so whatever the result of this is, I think that it's the narration as the helicopter is taking off up and out, and you're looking down at Hope 2 just standing there, like looking at this gun and waving at you.
And God, it's just so many things are going through my head.
Yeah.
I just, okay, so here we go. Let's see if I can blow it as badly. None.
That's a 10. That's right on the money. You manage to keep yourself together, and what insight do you gain about your darkness?
This won't be the last time. And also, really, I have mixed feelings about it. I was trying to avoid this with all my heart, and at the same time, I'm kind of glad it happened.
And with that, I think we will cut to our second break. Do you guys mind if we take a little bit longer, 10 minutes? So be back at like 7, 8 after the hour. In that case, I will see you all in a little bit. Welcome back. So, I think the journey to Florence is not particularly complicated. You guys clearly can't get there in one trip on this helicopter, but you guys are pretty traveled. You've been around, some of you, for a couple hundred years, and so taking the flight over to probably Istanbul and then catching a train into the center of Europe is not that difficult, and the three of you are able to blend well enough that you don't get too many looks, especially if Novella is hidden in some large amount of clothing or in a brightly lit area that it's hard to kind of see you.
In an urn that they're carrying around.
No, really?
That's great. I love
She
that.
can do it, but she hates it.
So you can do the sort of genie coming out of a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So the three of you arrive at the Florence train station probably 11 in the morning. It is the middle of August. You step out of the train station and it is hot. It is muggy. The sun is pouring straight down on top of you, and the city is completely overrun with tourists. There are, as far as you can tell, no native Italians currently in the city, and literally everyone here is wearing the wildest, most obnoxious tourist getup that you can possibly imagine.
Couldn't they have been grabbed during the spring or fall? Oh, this is awful.
People
No
with
joke.
cameras, people with fanny packs, and the stupid flip flops that never manage to stay on, but you can get them at any kind of convenience store. And you guys start to make your way to your contact a little bit farther into the city. Sojourn, you know Isadora Bologna. She was a rival of yours at one point. Potentially, you were sent on a couple of missions directly against her, and she gave you a scar that you'll carry forever. Why did she eventually swap sides and join Division, and why don't you trust her?
She swapped sides. I think she just goes where the money is. And she was working some kinds of rackets that just weren't paying dividends anymore. I'm trying to think what that might be. And then the division just offered her a good salary and steady work, and she was convinced. So, and I don't trust people who are preoccupied with money. So that's why I don't trust her.
Seems reasonable. Brandon, did you want to say something?
Oh, just if you wanted ideas to the racket that she might have been involved in.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so a supernatural racket. So essentially zombification, making very biddable minions out of
Wow.
people. You know,
It just got too expensive to find the corpses and secure.
well, they're not technically dead. Maybe they wish they were.
Right.
It's not clear whether they're still thinking, but they're very good at obeying orders.
Right.
And not questioning them, and of getting themselves killed to protecting you and things like that.
Also, it's such a messy process.
Yeah. It's kind of disgusting too, but that's a matter of taste, I suppose.
Yeah, I love that. So you know that Isadora will typically, you can typically find her at the Piazza della Signoria, which is kind of a central plaza in the middle of Florence. And she tends to spend a lot of time there kind of racketing to the general tourists and getting herself into trouble usually. So that is where the three of you are headed. And you're pushing through the kind of tightly packed streets. You find yourselves wandering through this kind of dense network of alleyways in the back, and there's street peddlers that are kind of shouting at you and hawking wares at you.
Non desiamo niente. Say, waving off one of them.
Hope, I have here, one of you was here before, but I think Hope was potentially here in the future.
Yes.
How
Yes.
has
A little before the pinpoint bomb leveled it. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember something very fondly about this city, and it hasn't happened yet, or it is no longer it has not been created yet.
Something physical about it or an event?
I think something physical about either physical or social about the city.
Okay. Social, I know what it is. Not everybody remembers it fondly, but I thought it was incredibly beautiful. Someone managed to spike the city aquifer with LSD. And you had an almost citywide trip that went on. And a few people came to harm, but for most of them, but for a lot of them, it was an incredibly transformative experience of being one with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people.
Yourself included?
Oh yeah, voluntarily. I knew it was similar, but I took it anyway.
And I want to ask Novella the opposite question. You were here decades ago, potentially like end of World War II type era. How has the passage of time corrupted something that you loved that time that you were here?
I think, Jex the player has never been to Europe, but I imagine that there's a lot of sort of this, side by side of a lot of these like really historic landmarks and buildings with, kind of the trappings of, the modern world of fucking LED billboards and all of this like trappings of consumerism. And I think that Novella just hates that stuff. So I think, yeah, there's like a big glowing billboard advertisement for something. I don't know. And you know, she doesn't spit because that's not like, she's too polite to do that, but like internally she's like, you know, kind of spits at it.
Yeah, so I think that comes to a head as you actually make it into the piazza, because there's an entire wall of the piazza that has a collection of sculptures. Technically, they're replicas. The originals are all in museums, but there are these beautiful marble sculptures that are all kind of displayed out in front, and there are people taking pictures of it. There's the tour group on segways that are kind of going across in front, and next to the whole thing, there's a big McDonald's sign that's just like maybe
Yes.
2 buildings away. It's frustrating and annoying.
Just the giant crowds of tourists are enough to drive you bananas, I think.
Exactly, but that is what brings you specifically to this piazza, because where there are lots of tourists, there are lots of pockets to be picked. And I think that you catch Isadora in the middle of a mark. I want to see what Sojourn does in this situation.
I'm sort of picturing it as she's trying to pick the person's pocket, she sort of grabs her wrist and moves her hand away, sort of coming up, surprising her a little bit. And Sojourn says,
Is it the moment after where she was about to put the wallet in her pocket and you just pull it out?
She's about to pick someone else's pocket, and she grabs her hand before she can reach into someone else's.
You're not going to catch her red-handed.
Right.
Her arm is freezing cold. And she, like, startled, looks back at you with these like pure black eyes that she's got. And you can tell that she's like very briefly panicked, and then this smile goes up over her face. And she's like, Sojourn, I didn't expect to see you here. And she kind of like wrenches her hand out of her arm out of your hand. Well, I can't say that I'm too happy to see you right at this very moment, but better than the alternative, I suppose.
I can't say that I'm happy with the arrangement either. We need some information.
Information? Who's we?
Me and her and her.
She kind of looks around. Oh, well, if you've got a ghost with you, then we probably should get out of the middle of a public square. Come, follow me. And she kind of rolls her eyes a little bit and walks the 3 of you back to into one of these alleyways that you've kind of gone through, and she takes a couple of quick turns, and you find yourselves in front of a gelateria. And this kind of out of the way little gelato shop that's got a line snaking out the door. And she just pushes past people, and they're all shouting at her in various languages, and the 3 of you all follow her in. She waves at the man behind the kind of the glass counter with all the tubs of gelato out front, and she just walks into a back room.
Hope waves too.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I didn't quite hear you.
I said hope waves too. and smiles just because she's like that.
The room in the back here is dingy. It's cramped. It's half a storeroom and half a bedroom. It's very clear that she is essentially bunking here out of desperation and not out of any particular desire to be in this spot. But it is privacy enough for the four of you to have a little bit of a chat, and she turns and kind of collapses on the bed, which squeaks and crunches.
Can I get a gelato?
You're good. I don't get any line privilege, so you're gonna have to go out and wait in that probably like half-hour line.
Never mind.
I mean, you can have some of the ingredients, and she points at some of the shelves, and you can see there's like a big barrel full of pecans and a big tubs of caramel and stuff.
We'll hope we'll get a handful of pecans and snack on them while she's talking.
Are you guys here to bully me into information? Division knows that I tell you everything.
It's an unexpected perk to be able to bully you, but it is not the main reason why we are here. Team was deployed here a little while ago. They have not checked in. What were they doing here?
So that's why you're here. You're following up on that fiasco. Well, there have been some murders recently.
Spooky.
Division thought that it was suspicious enough that they sent a squad here. And turns out that potentially that they weren't prepared. Squad ended up killing each other.
Can I talk to them? Are they? What happened to the? I can talk to them. I can talk to dead people. Where are they?
I don't know where their spirits went. I'm not as
I don't need their
gifted as you.
spirits. I need their. Where are their fucking bodies?
Divisions holding them in a warehouse just outside the city. I think they're supposed to be transported back to Baghdad in the next couple of days.
Show me. I pull out my phone. Have her point on the map.
She gives you an address that's on the other side of the river and kind of up in the hills a little bit.
Oh, up on Fiesole. I haven't been there in a while. I won't be there in a while. I'm sorry. Did I mix that up again?
And what about the people that were murdered? What can you tell us about them?
Everyday folk, mostly. There was a couple of fairly high-profile murders that there was a politician here, a banker there, lots of smaller folk, but they never seemed to be connected. They were always perpetrated by different people who got caught.
So why was Division interested?
You tell me. A lot of folks get murdered every year. For some reason, this batch seemed to spark an interest back at HQ. Can I call it that? Do I get to call it HQ? I don't even know.
Why not?
Why not? They asked me all the same questions, and I told them I don't I don't know anything. I'm trying to live my life out here, and
This isn't great if you can't even jump the line on the gelato place.
look. Do you think that what kind of sway do you think I have in this relationship here? I'm living on top of boxes of milk, and she like pulls the sheet up, and you can see that there's like a spring mattress laid out on top of like milk crates.
I'm sorry. Is there something I can do for you?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the one who stopped me from doing my job today.
That's not a very nice way to make a living. And also it can't be a very good way to make a living.
Oh.
Or you wouldn't be back here in this
Wow.
cafeteria.
Right you are. But that's neither here nor there, I guess.
You're pretty enough to be a model. Have you ever thought about that?
Are you trying to convince her? Are you trying to flatter her? Convince her to do something?
No, Hope's just telling the truth.
Okay. Gonna see if you wanted to unleash the dark and kind of sway her to do something.
Is there a way that talking to her lets us
Sure.
grasp for keys?
Yeah, I can see that being grasping for keys as well. Depends on what you want to get out of it. If you want like aid or
I'm not trying to do her any harm. So okay. I think I'm being sincere. Okay. And so I think this is grasping for keys.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so why don't you roll some grasping for keys.
I still have some darkness left. Hope doesn't drive too easy. I honestly didn't pick this name with the intention of doing a pun every time I said something important.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope puns to be made. That is a 12.
Okay.
So on an 11 plus, you uncover the key, but there's a significant complication, cost, or fallout.
Of course there is.
So the key that you get is she smiles and why thank you. I do appreciate the flattery. So coming from an agent of the division, I've been a little more careful these days. Tell you what. If you let me go back and finish off my day so that I can do what I need to do, I'll let you take a look inside this. And she reaches under the bed and pulls out a box.
I look at Sojourn.
Just tell us what's in the box, Isadora.
Okay, I'm taking that as your promise. And
Promise.
she smiles and She spins her finger in the air and creates a key out of a shard of ice that forms in the air in front of her. And she sticks the key in the lock and unlocks it.
Ooh.
Pops the lock. You're gonna say
While
something?
she's, no. While she's doing that, I get Humphrey off of the boxes of milk because he's sniffing around, hopefully hoping to find one that's open. But
and she reaches into the box and pulls out a clump of fur and skin that she hands over to you guys.
I'm not touching that. Hope.
yeah, okay. Is it small?
Yeah,
Part?
it looks so. From what you can tell, it looks like almost as if you had like, it's clearly not human hair.
Right.
Like the closest equivalent you could probably get is like maybe like a goat or a
Sure.
long-haired horse or something like that. But it looks like somebody had like grabbed a chunk of hair and ripped it off and brought some of the skin with it.
So it looks torn.
It looks torn and broken.
Okay.
Where did you get this?
One of the murderers had it. Didn't know why, didn't know how it got there. It was in his pocket. Good at taking things out of pockets.
Why do you have it, not the division?
The division all killed each other before I could tell anyone.
All right.
Well, we'll take it off your hands. That's evidence.
She puts her hand up. You don't have any arguments from me.
Hope. Take the gross fuzzy thing.
I'll put it in my bag.
Not like I'm trying to make an set of earrings out of it or something. It's a bag of skin and hair.
All right. That's enough for you.
She did what she did what we asked her to do.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much, Hope.
You might do better in a town like Milan, They need that. There are all sorts of places that would pick you up as a fashion model and never ask you 2 questions about where you came from.
I like you.
It's true.
Do you want to reach for the light with her?
Okay. Do I want to do that?
How many tokens
lost.
are you using?
Oops, I clicked the wrong button.
Okay.
I'm using 2 last
Okay.
ones. Oops.
That is a 13. You guys love rolling 11 pluses on
Just so good at it.
Reach for the Light. So you can gain or lose tokens. You can create a new bond. You can clear a condition, mark XP.
I'll take a bond.
That makes sense. So you can add a bond with Isadora. And then do you reveal something you didn't mean to, miss something important, or destroy something beautiful?
Oh, we don't have anything beautiful between us. So I can't pick that one. I'm going to tell her, this is sort of mean, don't mean to. I mean, you really should go to Milan, especially before 2023.
What happens in 2023?
I don't think I should tell you that.
Fair enough. Well, now I have. Thank you for the wonderful ideas. He winks at you. What is Novella up to?
That's a good question. I think that Novella gained some darkness for feeling ignored or unimportant. Actually, I'm not, because, well, that puts me at 5, which I think is a thing, right?
Yeah, no, I
so
think that would be.
Let's do that.
That's awesome. So, let's go to the situational move. If you have 5 or more tokens of darkness in front of you, the Keeper of Doors will ask you, what does the darkness demand of you in this moment, and how will it compromise your fellow monsters and your mission?
So the darkness demands that I break the veil between the living and the dead. I think that I'm drawn to the clump of hair and skin to try to get secrets from it, but it's an incomplete. It's like it's not a full. It's not a corpse. It's not a anything that's intact. So I think that I don't know, risks maybe pulling up something bad. Like, I think speaking to the dead generally is pretty benign, right? It's kind of a neutral thing, but I think that this is, I'm going to be speaking to something worse.
She's going to reify it.
I love that. All right. So you have to use 3 darkness tokens.
Okay.
And you roll +3.
All right. That's a 6. My favorite number.
On a 7-, you're barely able to hold yourself together. Keep all of your tokens and keep the darkness at bay for now. So that's a good thing. Okay. This one is, the higher you roll, the worse it is.
Okay. Oh boy. Do folks like see this? Like, I guess, does anyone react to me trying to do this?
Yeah. What is
thing?
this? Is there a moment of like Hope is holding on to this, like trying to put this thing in a bag, and it starts to do something? It starts to react to you. I'm asking Novella that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at my character sheet. Sorry, can you ask
you're good.
again?
Yeah, no. I think this, like, maybe this process starts and you start trying to draw something out of this. How does the like clump of hair and skin actually react to what's going on? Does it?
I think that you start to see like a spectral kind of like head starting to sort of form under the scalp, but it's not human in appearance. It's something horrible, demonic, and
Screech and pitch this thing up in the air.
yeah, I think that
Ah!
I think that Novella sort of doesn't get frightened, and I think that's the scarier thing, right? Is that she's kind of, I think someone has to stop her from continuing, maybe.
I think does like the shriek maybe from Hope maybe pull you out of it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then the like spectral face just sort of disappears. I think briefly my face turns into that face because my face is weird like that, and but it disappears, and I just drop the clump with a thump onto the floor. And now I think probably everyone's looking at me. I don't feel ignored or unimportant anymore.
Everyone is looking directly at you. What the hell was that thing? And I think that is where we're going to close out with a little bit of time left to do stars and wishes at the end.
Sam, was that fuzzy clump a key?
That was a key.
Yes.
So I was going to go in because I never actually told you guys what the name of this mystery and the complexity was. So this mystery is called The Schemes Revealed. And it is complexity 7.
So we got a ways to go.
So that is on the low end of average for complexity. They're typically between 7 and 9.
Do we want to do end of session?
Yep. So let me just kind of quick update the character keeper.
Okay. Thanks.
Those, and then this is. There you go. So now the keys tab has a spot for you to put that information in if you want to keep track there. All right. So end of session moves, if I can go to the right PDF. Answer the following questions. For every yes, mark 1 XP. Did you express your monstrous nature or your humanity?
So
I think we had a lot of
piece of cake.
A lot of role playing, so that's good. Did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? Definitely yes for Sojourn. Did Hope or Novella learn anything about themselves or about their doom?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
both.
Yeah.
I did. Yes, since I actually encountered myself, I think that.
Running into yourself. Yeah.
Well, and also the realizations afterwards, which we have not talked about, but she sort of learned about.
Yep.
Question quick. When I fill the XP track, obviously, I take a new move or whatever, but then if I continue to have XP that like carries over, does that carry over?
So it is, I'm going to play that as soon as you hit 5, you get a new move and then immediately start counting more. These are discrete questions.
Right. Okay.
So we get to see a new move from Novella next week, or a new something, depending on what you pick. And then, did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't speak to anybody else, but I don't think that Novella really got the Hope situation, that there were more of her. I know Sojourn knows that because she's like been in love with a series of different Hopes or whatever. But yeah, I think that was pretty remarkable for Novella, and probably something she would try to bring up with Hope, but I don't know what that would look like.
I look forward to it.
Like that.
I feel like this last scene was pretty revealing about Novella
Mhm.
too. So,
So
I'm so
Like
glad
the-
that I didn't just hand the skin to Novella and say, "What do you think about this?" Because this this way was better.
summoning demons in the back room of a gelateria. All right, and then answer the following for every no. You may choose to mark one doom. Did you uncover at least one key of the apocalypse or attempt to open Doom's door?
Yes.
I think the only one who did that was Hope.
Oh, those are still individual. It's not for the group.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So Sojourn or Novella can choose to mark Doom for that. Did you completely deny what the darkness demands of you?
No. Hey,
I don't think anybody did that.
Yeah. Well, I specifically gave the darkness what it wanted.
Yep. And then did you reach for the light with someone? Yes, everyone did multiple times. So I think that is good.
So I'm going to take a new move and a new Doom move. So that'll be fun. We'll see
Oh,
how that
fun.
goes
Wow.
next time.
That'll be exciting to see. I'm very excited for that.
I have somehow failed to rack up enough Doom to take a Doom move.
Awesome. Looks like Brandon, you also get a new move.
I will get a new move. I don't know what to
And
say.
Dan, you're one off.
that's right.
So if you need to reach out to the light with more folks and get some XP from that.
Well,
All right. With that, thank you everyone who's watching this on YouTube or a podcast or however you get your content. This has been a lot of fun. Again, this was a production of The Gauntlet. You can find more about it in the links in the description. And if you come and sign up for a game, then maybe I'll get to play with you soon. Until then, I will see everyone around. Bye, guys.
Bye.